I've talked about events a few times, so I thought I would go ahead and show how I actually handle them. Because, as I said before, if you have a limited playtime like I do, they can be kind of frustrating. Just because you have these preset goals for you, which means that you have to play using certain setups or certain mechs. So I'm going to show the different mechs that I use and which objectives I'm using to achieve them. So the Corsair was one that I decided to use because it would help with the objective to shoot down missiles, and it would help with the... It would do a little bit toward the ballistic objective of doing 2,500 damage. I mean, the Gauss rifles are a relatively low DPS weapon, so you're not going to accumulate the ballistic damage as quickly, but since it's got long range and a strong punch, it's still going to contribute a bit. And I'm not really worried about the 2,500 energy damage objective, just because most mechs tend to have at least some energy weaponry on them, so every single event I've ever done, the energy damage objective is the first damage objective I knock out. Oh, and this was also used for getting kills in an assault. Now, I really lucked out in this match because two of their guys decide to sit over there on the wall the entire time. You know, they don't even have ECM, they don't do a whole lot to take cover either, so they just kind of let me poke at them for the whole match. On the flip side, though, that does mean they get to poke at us for the entire match, but one of them is an LRM Hunchback, so I'll be shooting down his missiles all day. And between those guys and, you know, us being able to take the top, it let me pretty comfortably just sit up here and do damage most of the match. Of course, being a big target on top means that, well, you're going to get shot a lot. It's just... Oh, I hated that shot. I was just about to release, and then the Hellbringer walks in front of me again. I mean, it's just part of the game, I know, but it's frustrating sometimes. With the Gauss rifle especially, since I can't just push the button and take the shot. You know, I have to charge up first. It was actually really surprising, though, how little their team did to try to challenge us for the top. Because as always, that's usually the team that's going to win. Whoever can stay up here the longest, you know, is then forcing the other team to kind of split up more, as well as forcing them to move farther before they can get into a better firing position. So here I decided to go ahead and face down probably one of the more common Corsair 7A builds is having rack 2s. Because I figured with my firepower I can punch through his CT before he can punch through mine. It did cost me a lot of armor to just stare down those racks, so whether it was worth it, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I took a big part of their firepower off the field, but I lost a lot of armor in the process. One thing I said when I uploaded the original Corsair video was that I was hoping it would help me practice practice with the Gauss rifles, because I don't really use them on any other mech. And this video I think shows that it has definitely helped. There's still times where I need to learn things specific to this particular mech. Like, there are a few shots that I just plant into the ground because I expected to be able to make the shot, but you know, the geometry of the terrain ate the shot just because of where it came out of my mech. But for example, these arm-mounted lasers are very easy to hit with since they're very high-mounted. So here is where staring down that rack too earlier came back to bite me. At this point, I'm having to back away when I see that, I think it was a... I forgot what it was. I think it's a Nova or something out there that I'm shooting at the whole time. Yeah, yeah, Nova. You know, normally I wouldn't be intimidated by its firepower at all, but because I have nothing left on my torso, you know, I had to really be careful. And the only place I have armor left is on my back. That Irby was able to maneuver around and kill me. And we're pretty comfortably ahead, but just watching the way that our guys were playing, I was still actually kind of worried that we were going to throw the match. You can see that our guys are fairly beaten up too. So now that we're at 10 and 6, I mean we're probably fine, but it's just I didn't think our team was even really playing well enough to be completely honest. So I thought that, you know, we could still lose this. You know, in the late game when everyone's beaten up, if the enemy team has like a commando or something running around, it's still very possible for them to do very serious damage and take out a few people.
New target acquired.
There's the hunchback that was on the wall earlier, and I don't know why our death strike is just sitting there. You know, I started to type out a message like, hey, please go kill it or something. But then the guy actually starts moving. And I get that the death strike is pretty torn up, so that was probably why he was hesitant.
Target spotted. Affirmative. We almost have it. Hold on for just a little longer.
So in the end, the other guys really didn't do very well after all. So we won with a pretty comfortable margin. And here, if you look at chat, I was actually being serious when I said this. They made good target practice for me, which I need. So I was happy that they were there, even though it was detrimental to the other team, and I probably sounded like I was being a smartass. But on top of my other good stats, I shot down 561 missiles, so that easily finished out the event for me. And, you know, again, dealt plenty of damage, got my kills very easily. So this match, or this mech, was a great assault mech for farming the event. And as long as you're not looking to deal missile damage, this is a pretty good setup. And it doesn't do a fantastic job with ballistics, but it will still at least contribute to the objective.